Hello and welcome to Ajax TV. I'm obviously not a familiar face to you. I'm Rob Delport from SABC Sport, and Ajax has asked me to step in today for this big announcement. First of all, I'm joined by Ari Efstatio, the CEO of Ajax. Ari, let's first of all discuss exactly what's happened, the change in coach. You guys stuck with Stanley through some very difficult times, and obviously the fans stuck with Stanley through some difficult times. What brought about the eventual change?
Morning, Rob. Obviously, the results haven't been coming our way. We are always very committed to the appointment of any coach that we put in. And we felt it was correct to give Stanley the best opportunity to do the job that he was meant to do. Unfortunately, the results haven't gone his way. I think, to be realistic, we got a good 4 points on our visits to Wits and our home away game with Chippa. But the result at Kaizer Chiefs basically called in, and we had to make a decision. The log position doesn't lie. We were sitting second last. And I think there's an opportunity right now to make a difference. We've got 16 games to go, 9 home games, and playing 5 home games in January. If there was a time to make the change, it was now. And the board decided to make the change.
And you've acted very swiftly and turned to a head coach that the club and you're very familiar with. There have been good times, there have been bad times. How did this happen?
Well, again, it's a situation that you've got to make a decision that what's best for the club. Emotions and feelings need to get out of the way, and the brand and the name of the club are more important. Our positioning in the league, obviously for the supporters as well, they've stuck through with us, and whatever decision we had to make it based on survival of the club, and the decision was made quite swiftly.
And I think it's time we introduce the head coach.
Yes, we can.
And Ari, the head coach we're referring to, of course, is the one and only Muhsin Ertugral.
Welcome home, Muhsin.
Thank you.
Welcome home to Cape Town, Muhsin, and welcome back to Ajax Cape Town, a club you're obviously very familiar with. It's your 4th time as head coach of Ajax. What are your first thoughts?
Sure. At first, home. I just hear the word home. That's good, firstly. Secondly, obviously, to be back in such club that we have so great memories and have done for South African football so much, especially with the youth section. Coming back home, coming back to this club was never be, let me say, a long thing to think if that possibility came up. And obviously, we were very happy to be back.
Listen, obviously, it's been just over a year since you left Orlando Pirates. Obviously, not been coaching since then. You've been working as a TV pundit in Turkey. But I have seen you visiting South Africa quite a few times, and you've obviously been keeping an eye on the PSL. But what made you, you had spoken before about not wanting to join another PSL team. What changed your mind?
Yes, I was actually behind that, and there was, I think, also a couple of offers that came in, and didn't want to actually come back. Also, when you've been in this environment sometimes so long, you need to also to see other environments, and there was some couple of offers internationally, and did some TV work. And what is for a coach always very important is to have a research and see what Bundesliga does, what the Premier League does, and renew yourself a little bit, and sometimes to sit a little bit back and think about yourself, what you done have wrong, and how can you go to the next step, because football is moving. But South Africa was, and especially Cape Town, was always home to me. And obviously, Ajax is a great club. It's a great project. It's a trademark, not only in South African football, in world football. And so to be associated with a club from that magnitude was always for me, from my personal way of, because the way of Ajax with youngsters, youth academies, bringing a lot of young players up, and was never been long thinking for me. And obviously there's history behind, and changed quickly in my mind. A team from that magnitude to be there where it is at the moment, and being involved with the club didn't take for me too long when we spoke to Ari.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, a lot of people will talk about the past that you've had here, Muhsin's Chickens. You know, I mean, it is a club that you've obviously got a connection with, and from Ari and from your point as well, it's something a relationship that it's good to see rekindled.
Yeah, you know, we've always had the Mediterranean type of relationship, heated and cooled every now and then. But the bottom line is, Muhsin's been very successful with the club. And there's always been a reason every time he's left. It wasn't because of any other reason than situation. A couple of times he got offers to go to other clubs, which we didn't stand in his way. I think the last time he left, he had a personal issue. But the bottom line is, whenever Muhsin's been here, we've been successful. We've always promoted kids from our academy. Not only promoted, we've had successful kids that have come through Muhsin's tutelage. And for us, it was not much thought, to be honest. We were obviously concerned that we were going to lose him if he goes to another club. But we first needed to give Stanley an opportunity, and we had spoken to Muhsin, so he was aware of it, that we needed to give Stanley an opportunity. But he made it quite clear to us that this would be his home if an offer would become available.
And speaking of some of those players who you have worked with are still in the squad. Are you looking forward to reunite with some of those kids?
Yeah, this. I mean, Cape Town football. There's a lot of talent in there, and Ajax. It's okay as a household team that brings a lot of important factor for South African football. Obviously, we have Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, who are the locomotives in South African football. But you must also not forget that Ajax has done for South African football so much, bringing a lot of talents up into the market. And when you look into the South African football, there's a lot of players who comes through the ranks and get the first professional from South Africa with Ajax, and I think in any team. So it means also a lot to me to be associated with a team like that. And to your question, obviously there's a lot of players that I work together with, and looking forward to be united. And quick, we don't have time, and we know that the January window it's a heavy point for us to get the team running, and obviously we'll this reunited thing is that they understand, the players know me very well, I know them very well, so it will be easy.
Yeah, you mentioned
easier, not easy.
I was going to say it's obviously been a very difficult season so far. Position 15th as you come in, but this is something that you're not completely unfamiliar with. You have come to the club in a similar situation, but perhaps with this time around you've got a lot more time. The one I can remember, you came with 4 games to go. Are you confident you can turn things around?
Yeah, if I'm not, I wouldn't sit here. Firstly, secondly, it was last time was really a bit. It was
very tight.
And Ari was the chairman was about to insisting on that time to come in, and I came in, and it was really tough. I remember that. But the good part is I knew the players on the time as well, like now. But we had a lot of, as you said, chickens around. We just need to give them the hope and the possibilities, obviously, and everyone is needed at the moment to be in one direction, and hopefully we can get as quick as possible. But obviously we have a little bit more longer time as this last time.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you also, I mean, I know you've been following the league. It's a lot tighter than it looks. You know, I think there's 17 points separating the bottom team and the top team. In fact, there's 15 points separating you guys and the top team. What would be realistic expectations?
Yeah, you put me already on the pressure. There is no realistic expectations. Ajax doesn't belong there where it is at the moment to be associated with that. It's also for South African football, not only for Cape Town football, for Ajax, but we need to get this team going, and that's quite a challenge at the moment. We don't want to go back to background what happened. There's too many youngsters that obviously needs to be molded. PSL league demands on the PSL league is not easy. Always experienced that as a foreign coach. It took me myself on the time, when you remember '99 when I came in. It took me around 6 months to understand the philosophy and the way how South Africa operates actually. And you have a multicultural environment in here. So that means you have foreign players coming in. Even in South Africa, you have multicultural environment. So you need to be aware of these elements. We also made my mistakes all those years and learned from.
I mean, he basically did answer the question I was going to ask you next about whether is any mandate from the club. I mean, it's basically that Ajax shouldn't be in the situation they're in now.
Exactly, Rob. I think Muhsin's taking quite a challenge onto him, and I think we've got to concentrate on and focus on the next game. And as long as you win, you'll be out of the situation very easily. And we have the confidence that Muhsin can take us out of there. Our first game against Maritzburg, I think we can relax now, and Maritzburg can start panicking because Muhsin's here. And I don't think any team coming down now suddenly will think Ajax is easy to win. I think we're gonna go back to worrying about, can we beat Ajax? We're obviously worried about our support, the supporters that have really stuck by us, and I think this is a fantastic Christmas present for them. It's just absolutely perfectly timed. And yes, our first target is Maritzburg, and thereafter we leave it in Muhsin's hands. We know what he knows exactly what we want. We've just got to be fair to him and give him enough tools to be able to get there, and we have full confidence that he will.
Discussing tools, any possible other changes to the technical team, or how is it going to work?
Yes, we're busy discussing at the moment with Muhsin. Obviously, from today onwards, we'll discuss the full technical team makeup. We haven't made any decisions yet. There might or might not be changes. On the playing personnel, I think, Muhsin, you can add on to that.
Yeah, it is at the moment. I've been always been long in this business now. It's more than 30 years as a coaching department. And what I can say always, the transfer window, the middle season transfer window is always the most difficult one. So we mustn't be naive in the market now that there is a certain type of philosophy that the team needs to play for. And we need, obviously, to discuss that now in the public doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we have players that need also to be reassessed properly. And I'm sure that, like always, in all those years that I work with Ajax or with other teams, that you see some sudden youngsters that suddenly getting up to certain levels. And we'll see. But obviously, in our mind, there is reforce here and there, but I think there's not much to discuss now in the public.
Yeah, look, I was going to say, with you did mention it. You do have, apart from the transfer policy at the transfer window, you do have a youth academy to look at, and it is something I know you've done in the past. I'm sure that as we go into 2018, there's also going to be a bunch of youngsters who are a year older. I was going to say, I mean, obviously you have this youth policy that at Ajax they're always promoting guys. You've just had Sergio Camis at the moment come through. Is this a possibility of other youngsters coming into the first team?
Yeah, give me a little bit of time. I think first we need to look into that and what is that we need, what system we're going to set up, what organization form going to be playing, and in the end is that obviously there is a way of expectation of Ajax playing a certain type of football, and that always has been. I cannot come and say this is my way. This doesn't make any sense. We have to see what way can the team play. Just to mention 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 3 strikers, 2 strikers. How do you set up the midfield? So it depends on the team what we have at the moment. Obviously, I'm pretty much sure what we have, and you'll understand we don't talk that publicly in that.
Well, we have added 2 players with Takwara from the Zimbabwean international, and we've added Muzi Tabata from Highlands Park. So those are automatically coming into play. And if I may recall, the last time you came in, Muhsin, 2013, I think you promoted 5 academy players the same week that you arrived in. Some of them were not ready, some were, but once they started playing for Muhsin, they suddenly became ready. So again, we're confident. It's not that we're saying that we're going to promote players from the academy. We're saying that we will look into the transfer market if necessary, and we're in Muhsin's hands.
January is not only going to be a big month with the transfer window for Ajax, it's a really, really big month for just Cape Town football. You guys have got 5 home games, technically 6 with the derby. Is that a lovely way to start as a coach, that you're not going to have to leave until February?
Yeah, it's you won't have as a coach. You always want game next to next. So it always because if there's a negative impact in the week before, you can always correct that next week. So if you wait too long, it always goes also to the player minds. And I think in January we have a really celebration here of football in Cape Town, and we have 5 games to play in this beautiful stadium. So I'm really looking forward, and I can't wait to start. From the other side is that derbies everywhere in the world are derbies, have always their own part of it, own discussion of it, and let's have a great Cape Town derby. With that side, I know very well the players that I've worked with.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, obviously, you have a history with John Komitas.
Yeah.
You have a history with many of the Cape Town City players as former Mpumalanga Black Aces.
Yes.
It's a nice little extra flavour to the derby.
It is. Obviously, we know the side very well. So this is the team that I have built myself. So in the end, obviously, been now around 2 years, 1.5 years now, separated from me. But obviously, we have a lot of the basic of this team. I know very well. But in the end, is that what can we do out of it, and how can Cape Town take a derby like that, so that we can make it really a great derby here in South African football.
And finally, guys, obviously we're 4 days away from Christmas as well. Just less than 2 weeks away from 2018. Is there a final message that you would obviously just like to say to the Ajax Cape Town fans?
Well, again, perfect Christmas present, as I said, for them. We're starting training on the 27th, so no rest straight after the holidays. Thanks to all our fans for being completely behind us. They've never, for once, doubted it. They've stuck by us. At the meeting that I had with the supporters a couple of weeks ago, we told them that we were going to make changes if necessary, and we have. They can sit back now, relax, have a fantastic Christmas, be at the game on the 5th against Maritzburg, where we're going to take the first 3 points.
Muhsin, message?
Yeah, we have a great fan base here. I remember all those years when we had, if I'm not mistaken, it was 11,000 in average.
Yes.
It was a very high fans base coming in here, and we want these fans getting back. Firstly, secondly, as they know, we will play the type of football that they love to see. But at the moment, is more the type of football is not that important. Important is to get wins before we can build on it. But one thing I would love to say that Merry Christmas to everyone. And the most important thing, I see that in South Africa every time when I'm being here, don't drink and drive. And we want to have a safe finishing year and a nice starting new year. So hopefully for everyone, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And thank you for the invitation. It's nice to be an independent person interviewing you guys. Yeah, just best of luck and Merry Christmas to both of you as well.
And to you too, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you to you too.